Good afternoon, whatever time you may be watching this little video. I'd just like to say thank you once again to my friends at the Wren's Nest for inviting me to come on and be a part of the virtual storytelling. Today, my friends, I'm going to work without a net. And what I mean by that is I have a story, one story I probably told more than 100 times, and another story that I never told to an audience. I call it my contemporary Brer Rabbit story. The first story I want to tell you today is called The First Lesson. And I'm going so fast, I forgot to do my story chant. So would you just repeat after me, please? Stories come and stories go. Listen to the words and help them grow. It matters not what they mean to me, only what your hearts can see. How stories come and stories flow. Listen to the words and away we go. The first story I want to tell you is called The First Lesson. And the first lesson is a story that I found many, many years ago when I was at the Putnam County Library. And Putnam County is actually the original home of George Chandler Harris and also Alice Walker and my friend George Andrews. So Putnam County and eat at the library. During the break between stories, I picked up a book called Wisdom Tales. And one of the stories I read that morning was called The First Lesson. And what the story says is that Tune wanted to marry Olafemi. So Tune went to Olafemi's house and knocked on the door. He knocked on the door and Olafemi came to the door. She said, "Yes, how may I help you, Tune?" He says, "Olafemi, I, Tune, Omowale Jr., I want you to be my wife. Will you marry me?" And Olafemi looked at Tune and says, "No, I will not marry you because there's something you do not have." What? What do I have? I have education. I come from a good family. I have a good job. I have looks. And I care for you. She says, "Yes, you may have all of those things, but there's something you do not have." What? What do I have? You don't have wisdom. And I could never, never marry a man who doesn't have wisdom. Wisdom? Where do I get this wisdom from? Can I buy it? No. Can I get it from a book? You get knowledge from a book, but not wisdom. Where can I get this wisdom? Olafemi says, "Go to Brother Ngozi, and Ngozi will give you wisdom." Okay, I'm going to go to Ngozi. I'll get me some wisdom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so Tune left Olafemi and ran down the path across the woods and went to Ngozi's house. He knocked on Ngozi's door. Bam, bam, bam. Ngozi came to the door and said, "Yes, how may I help you?" Ngozi, I want to marry Olafemi, but she won't marry unless you give me some wisdom. Will you give me some wisdom, please? I can't give you wisdom. All right. What does it cost? I'll buy it. I can't sell you wisdom. Wait. You can't give it to me? And I can't buy it? What must I do? Come, let us go to the pond. And so they left Ngosi's house, and they went down the path, and they went to the pond. And now as they walked to the pond, there was lizards and snakes crawling all in it. There was mosquitoes and butterflies falling all around. Lizards was running all around their feet. Tune says, okay, we're at the pond. What now? And Ghosty says, step into the water. What? You want me to step in the water and mess up my shoes? Do you want to marry the girl? So Tunde stepped in the water, splash, splash. And Ghost says, go further into the water. What? And mess up my pants? Do you want wisdom? So Tunde walked further and deeper out into the pond. Then it goes, he says, put your head down by the water. Tunde reached down and touched the surface of the water. It was all slimy and slippery and everything. He said, you want me to put my head by this water? Do you want to marry the girl? Of course I do. Then put your head by the water. And Tunde put his head just above the water. And Rosie went up behind him and rubbing his back and slowly, very gently, pushed his head down beneath the water. And he held his head beneath the water and then let him up. Man, what are you doing, man? When your head was underwater, did you want wisdom? No, man, I only wanted air. When your head was underwater, did you want to marry the girl? He said, no, man. Don't you know? I only wanted air. You said, there, my son. When you want wisdom, as much as you wanted air, you will be on your way to having it. Come, let us get out of the water. They got up out of the water. And Tunde says, what else? Is there more? What else? You have all that you need. No, I don't. She told me to come get wisdom. And you only gave me one lesson. What? Give me more lessons. You don't need any more. You have the first lesson. And he left them there at the pond. And Tunde pondered. He said, the Olufimi wanted me to get wisdom. I only got one lesson. Now, what should I do? When I go to her, should I tell her that I got wisdom? Or should I tell her that I only have one lesson? All right. I'll decide on my way back. So slowly, he walked back through the woods, up the path, all the way to Olufimi's house. He gently knocked on the door. And Olufimi came to the door. She says, yes, today, do you have wisdom? No, I only have one lesson. And what's that? Ngozi said that when I want wisdom, as much as I want air, I will be on my way to having it. And do you believe him? If the wise man said it, it must be true. Yes, when I want wisdom as much as I want and need air, I will be on my way to having it. Okay, I will be your wife. What? You will be my wife even though I don't have wisdom? Until now, you have something that is even greater than wisdom. What? You're truthful and honest. And with those two, the wisdom will come. I will be your wife. Well, Tune, went and talked with Olafeme's parents, and they agreed to allow them to get married. Tune and Olafeme got married, and I really don't know what happened because that's a whole nother story. Thank you. All right, that's the story of Tune and Olafeme called The First Lesson. Now, I'd like to do a contemporary Brer Rabbit tale. And as I thought about doing the story today, it really just kind of appeared to me that these stories are really connected. Finding that story, the first lesson in the Fulton County Library, the home of George Chandler Harris and the fictional Uncle Remus. This story that I'm writing about Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox in a contemporary setting, to me is kind of what our whole medium of storytelling is all about. The story is called Brer Rabbit Takes Brer Fox's Cousin to Court. In this story, we're way into the future, where Fox and Rabbit are no longer at each other. Rabbit has stopped playing tricks on Brer Fox, and Fox has stopped trying to eat Brer Rabbit. And they have a truce. They go fishing and hunting together. Their wives go shopping together. Their children play games together. And everything is just okie-dory between Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox. But one day, deep down in the woods, Brer Fox's cousin, Wren, comes to visit. And as he's going towards Brer Fox's house, he's hungry, and he sees some rabbits playing around. And being hungry, Brer Fox's cousin, Wren, needs something to eat. So he looks at the rabbit, he starts chasing one of them. Now, the little young rabbits are not as smart and quick-witted as Brer Rabbit. So lo and behold, Brer Fox's cousin, Wren, catches one of those rabbits and eats him up. Yes, he does. And when Rabbit asks his children what happens to their sibling, they tell him that a fox had caught him and ate him up. Brer Rabbit goes immediately to Brer Fox and says, Brer Fox, why you ate my child? The fox says, Rabbit, you know I would never do that. Well, my children told me a fox ate one of my children, and I thought it was you. No, it wasn't me, Brer Rabbit. But I tell you what, my cousin just came down to visit, so let's ask him. And so they go and find Brer Fox's cousin and ask him if he had eaten a rabbit. And of course he says, yes, I was hungry and I saw these rabbits and I chased one and I caught him and oh, it sure was good. Hey, you can't do that. Brer Rabbit is my friend now. Hey, he's not my friend and I was hungry. So I ate the rabbit that I caught. He almost got away, but I ate it. And so Brer Fox pleaded with his cousin to apologize to Brer Rabbit for eating one of his children. But that cousin absolutely refused. He said it was his right to eat that rabbit because he was hungry. Well, when Brer Rabbit couldn't get any justice, or at least an apology from Brer Fox, he took Brer Fox's cousin to court. Now, funny thing happened when Rabbit got to the courthouse. The judge was a fox. The jury was all foxes. Most of the spectators in the courtroom were foxes. And of course, when the whole deal went down, the jury found Brer Fox's cousin not guilty because they said he was hungry and he had a right to eat Brer Rabbit's child. Well, Brer Rabbit, he was upset. Brer Fox tried to console him, to help him get over it, but Brer Rabbit wanted justice. So what Brer Rabbit did was went to Brer Lion, and he told Brer Lion about what had happened, and he told Brer Lion he wanted some justice. And Brer Lion said, okay, Rabbit, you my friend, I know what to do. And so Brer Lion, he hung around for 2 days. One of those days, he didn't even eat anything. And when Brer Fox's cousin Wren was on his way back home, Brer Lion saw him and chased him and had his foot holding him down. It just so happened that Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox were both watching. Now the hungry lion has the fox on the ground, standing over him, roaring, about to eat him up. Brer Lion looks over to Brer Rabbit, who's standing beside his friend Brer Fox, and he says, what do you want me to do? And Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox didn't know what to say. And so here's where I want to end this story. Do you think Brer Lion should do to Brer Fox's cousin, who ate Brer Rabbit's child? Thank you. Just repeat after me. Stories come as stories go. Listen to the words and help them grow. It is not what they mean to me, only what your hearts can see, because stories come and stories flow. Listen to the words and away we go. Thank you very much for allowing me to work without a net. As I said, the first story I probably told more than 100 times. And the second story, you are the very first audience that I shared that story with. So I thank you and have yourself a great day.